worst advice that people have asked me for, they seek from other sources, and unfortunately quite often believe. So I thought I would come up with a list of maybe 5 things to include in this video. That's how it started. I started off with 2, I believe, and actually have 12. That's where I ended up looking at past emails, past comments, and coaching sessions that I've had with people. So as many of you know, I have coached, done retirement coaching for about 18 months now, and over 300 people I've talked to. I've discontinued that service because it was so overwhelming and interrupting my retirement. I don't give specific advice, but I would look at a plan and highlight gaps or concerns, relate it to my own experience, and just have a discussion with people and say, hey, I feel good about this. I don't like this. I don't like this. What makes you think that? A lot of people just want somebody to talk to. But in that process, sometimes there's questions that are asked that make me feel a little uncomfortable that many of you are probably asking as well. I get a lot of these in the comments of these videos. I love comments. I'm currently able to read all of them. I get emails. So these concern me the most. First of all, my name is Joe. I'm 59 years old. Retired 5 years ago, trying to help you on your journey to make the decision to retire, go through that whole process. I'm looking at it in the rearview mirror 5 years down the road. Maybe I can say something that helps you on your journey. Okay, so let's begin. Number 1, these are in no particular order. I'm going to begin with a quote. Far more money has been lost by investors preparing for corrections or trying to anticipate a correction than have been lost in the corrections themselves. This is by Peter Lynch. He was a fund manager of the Magellan Fund for Fidelity. His claim to fame is between 1977 and 1990. These funds, this fund that he managed averaged 29.2%. So just an insane number. He was the rock star of that time period in investing. Still great today. But, you know, this quote talks about corrections. Just substitute recession in there. We've been planning for a recession here. It's December of 2023. People have been talking about it for 18 months, and we've had a pretty good 2023. And if you stood on the sidelines anticipating the recession, you missed out on that. So what's going to happen next year? Who knows? Timing of the market is this, advice sphere I'm looking for. People are looking for some sort of inside information to get out of the market and then get back in from YouTube or the media, from gurus. Everybody's guessing. And when you have 1,000 people guessing, 2 people are going to get it right, and they're going to be the guru predicting the next recession. So don't seek out knowledge and advice on timing the market is really, this could be number 1. I hear this one a lot, people trying to manipulate things around to time the market. So number 2, I hear this one a lot. This was weekly. Hey, Joe, I have $1 million, or fill in whatever number, put in 500,000, put in 1.5 million. Do I have enough? Well, folks, first of all, you don't ask that in the comments. That's crazy. I always say, I need a lot more information than this to make any kind of assessment. Number 1, it all starts with expenses. If you have $1 million and you spend $20,000 a year, okay, you've got plenty of money, most likely based on history. If you want to spend $200,000 a year, you don't have near enough based on history. So doing this comparison between other people you've heard about, you've read about, you've learned on YouTube, with just looking at, I've got this money, do I have enough to retire? That's crazy. That's crazy. Where's it invested? Is it in your backyard, or is it in gold? Is it in stocks? Is it in some 60-40 combination? There's just 10 more questions that need to be answered with confidence to have any idea whether a certain dollar figure is enough. Number 3, my Monte Carlo simulation says 90% probability of success. Fill in any number here, okay? Is that safe to retire? Well, this is related to number two. Did you put in realistic inputs, expenses, returns, inflations, one-time expenses? Did you put in anything realistic? Folks, it's very easy to create a plan that solves the 90% or even, 100%. All you do is put in, you're going to get a 20% return a year and put your expenses real low. It's not that hard to do. So, I get asked this. Look at the comments. I get asked this all the time. My Monte Carlo says I'm at 92. Do you feel good about that? Depends on how realistic your assumptions are and what your risk profile is, right? Number four, medical insurance is too expensive. I can't retire before age 65. I don't hear this as much anymore. I would say I heard this a lot about 5-6 months ago. Maybe you guys are getting more informed here, but I have a video linked to every one of my videos. I guess the last 100 or so, I have a medical video I made. Just check it out. Talk about the decision process I went through and the options. The Affordable Care Act has some great options based on income. If your income, you can keep it looking pretty low. You can get some very attractive rates. There's short-term plans out there. There's health shares out there. I use a health plan from Farm Bureau I'm delighted with. I'm paying $950 a month now for my wife and I to combine. That's the total. I'm delighted with that. Don't take rule of thumb advice on healthcare. Get quotes, look at the alternatives, making a decision on what you want to do, okay? Number five, bad advice people seek out. Hey, the stock market returns 8, 9, 10% a year. And, everybody's been going crazy on YouTube with Dave Ramsey saying you can pull out 8% a year. Hey, stock market returns, I think he says like 11 something, and you can pull out 8 and you'll be fine. Well, also people will say, hey, Joe, I've averaged, 10% the last 10 years. Why can't I just project that forward into retirement? Well, one, you're going to get more conservative in retirement. If you don't, I think you're a little crazy. You're going to have to, when you're working, it's easy to be confident. When you're not working, you have to protect the nest egg. You have to play a little defense, and safety becomes important. Let's see. A lot of people look back at history and say, oh, hey, stock market, S&P over the last, 50 years, 10%. There you go, before inflation. Well, that's the last 50 years. Is that going to be the next 50 years? Is it going to be the next 10? And sequence makes a big deal. If you have low returns at the beginning and you're pulling out, you may be pulling out 7, 8, 9, 10% during those years because the stock market hits you hard with a 40, 50% loss. Sequence of return risk is a big deal. History is a guide. It's not a playbook, okay? The 4% rule. I like the 4% rule. It's a rule of thumb, but it is no substitute for a comprehensive software package, comprehensive analysis using Monte Carlo and varying your different investment returns and inflation returns. It's just no substitute for getting into your details of your expenses, your risk around your expenses, your personal one-time expenses, what's your timing of Social Security, do you have a pension? All these things factor in. So 4% rule is a rule of thumb, but it's you can't just say I use the 4% rule and I ignore everything else. That's poor advice I think you're looking for. But it's not a bad rule of thumb, but it's a start. I'll talk more about that at the end. Number 7, I'll pay less tax in retirement. Well, maybe. A lot of people do. Maybe not. It's my largest expense. When I look at my lifetime, my largest expense, highly likely it's going to be taxes. So I have to manage that pretty close. And I have to have good vision of it going forward. And that's why I use a comprehensive software package that does a great job year by year telling me what my anticipated tax brackets are going to be in the future and how much my taxes are going to be. So, and I'll talk more about that in a second. The other piece of advice some people use is you'd be crazy to use a financial advisor. Well, because it's 1%. or 0.75 based on your number of assets. I heard some people are 0.5% depending on the assets they've got. Well, maybe that's good advice. Maybe it's bad advice. It's highly specific and highly personal to you and your situation. Part of me says, hey, you've been managing your investments for 30 to 45 years, somewhere in there, and you've done a pretty good job. If you're talking about retirement, maybe you can do this. It's going to be work, though. It's not free. It doesn't just happen. It gets more serious. Mistakes are bigger. There's a lot more things to figure out. You never had to worry about time into Social Security. You never had to worry about RMDs, all those things. When you're working, you just kind of save money, right? You save money and put it in S&P 500 or something, and just let it grow. It's not complex, but it does take some work. But I consider it a part-time job where I'm getting paid 1%. So I like that. Software helps so much. Folks, if you're doing it yourself, I use New Retirement. The first link you're going to come to below is for a free 2 weeks. See if you like the format. You can do some basic work there, but it gets so much better when you pay for it. It's $120 a year, and it is an absolute bargain. Read the comments in my videos where I mentioned New Retirement, and the vast majority of people, I'm saying way over 99%, say, oh my gosh, this is a game changer. They use the word game changer, so I'm using it here. They have free training sessions to show how to use the software. They have coaching available. They have newsletters that come out. The software has artificial intelligence in it that helps you improve the plan, suggests things for you to do. They also have a YouTube channel where they talk about, improving your plan. So it was a game changer for me. I bought this the last 3 years. I am suggesting it, and I have bought it 3 years in a row. Don't go it alone, this is under financial advisor. Should I hire one? Well, you can't go alone, folks. That is my top advice for those going into retirement. You have errors in your plan. You got misunderstandings and blind spots in your plan. How are you going to solve that problem? Okay? That problem can be solved by hiring a financial advisor. That's an acceptable solution. It's an expensive one. It could be the best decision you make. You could hire somebody to create a financial plan for you, pay them $3,000, and have that updated every 3 years. That could be a great solution for you. Okay? My advice is, hey, talk to a minimum of 2 people. Okay, minimum of 2 people outside of you and your wife or husband, whoever I'm talking to here. Find 2 people. Another source, it's the second link below, is a service called Pickle. These people have 16 financial advisors on staff where you can call in and review a question you have about your plan, your total plan. You got free 45 minutes to talk to them. So you hit the link, it takes you to a calendar, expect a phone call, okay, on your topic. Now, they've committed to me that, 42 minutes of that is going to be answering your question. At the end, they may be doing a little sales pitch, but you can handle that. It's going to be on your question. When should I take Social Security? Do I have enough money? Here's my expenses. Is that ridiculous? I found this service after I stopped my retirement coaching to give you a solution and not just say, hey, you're out of luck. So this, contact the folks at Pickle, have a 45-minute discussion with them. That's a minimum thing I would do listening to this video. Number 9 of bad advice people seek out is, and believe, is taking Social Security as soon as possible. Well, everybody does that. Get your money from Uncle Sam before it goes bankrupt. That's kind of a common one nowadays. Well, I look at Social Security as my best asset. It grows at 7 to 8% a year that you delay. So if I wait from 62 to 63, which one of my assets grows at that rate, fixed, and is adjusted for inflation? None. It's a great asset. To me, I look at it as longevity insurance. If my investments just go to nothing over the next 15 years, I still got Social Security at its max. If I push that out to 67, 68, 69, or 70, could be ideal. But it's different for you. Actually, I'm looking more at taking it at 69 because my wife is 2 years younger than me, and she will be eligible for half of mine. So when she's 67, that she reaches her max of what she would get paid as a 50% of mine. So I would be 69 at the time, and it works out best for us to take it at that age. But it's also protection if we both live long, and if one of us live long. What if one of us dies at 72, and your investments go down a lot? They're down 50% because you're in the Great Recession or the Great Depression, those real events. You want that one surviving spouse to have the maximum Social Security they can. So that's my thinking on that. And that's just for me, but this is specific to you. I'm not saying later is the best answer. I'm not saying earlier at 62 is the best answer. I'm saying it depends. Do your work, okay? And New Retirement helps you with this. You can actually see dollars difference in your plan year by year and total in your net worth all through this. $120 a year is what New Retirement costs after the free 2 weeks. Okay. I haven't gotten this in a couple weeks, but I hear people used to say this to me all the time. Joe, you should get rental property. I've never owned rental property. That's not my expertise. What makes, the worst thing I could do is go out and buy 5 houses and depend on that rental income. I don't know how do I get the right renters in the houses? How do I collect rent? What do I put aside for maintenance? What areas to buy? What's a good price? I don't know these things. It's not my expertise. Getting into things that are not my area of expertise that hasn't done well for me over the years. So there's some things I do myself where I want to do the work to become, somewhat of an expert, or the risks are not that high. Becoming a landlord for several rental properties has a big downside to it, okay? You hear about a lot of people that have made money and they've made millions of this. Nobody that lost millions tells their story, okay? So you're listening to the survivors. It's called survivor bias. Here's how you do it. Here's how I made my millions. What about the 98% that lost everything? Number 11, piece of bad advice that you're getting and potentially believing. I hear this a lot. I will be bored in retirement. You're going to be bored in retirement. What are you going to do with all your time? That's possible. But I think if you have interest and you have hobbies, folks, I don't have time to work anymore. I was doing some retirement coaching and I was working 1 to 2 hours a day, and I had to cut that out because I couldn't do all the things that I wanted to do in my retirement. So 1 to 2 hours was too much work for me to do. My interests are much more diverse now that I'm retired. I, read a lot on my health. I focus on my health. I like to cook. I work on nutrition a lot. I'm finding out a lot about nutrition, learning a lot about history, a lot of biographies. I have a study group that focuses on that. I try to learn things financially. I work with a handful of nonprofits. Trying to enhance my relationships with family and friends. We do a lot of travel. Work just doesn't fit. Okay, so bored in retirement? No, could be. I laugh at that. Number 12, Joe, you should downsize and relocate. Even potentially overseas, go to a low-cost country, free healthcare. Well, I can't tell you how many people I know that have sold their $500,000 house with the plans to buy a $350,000 house, and that $150,000 gives their retirement a boost, and they end up spending $600,000 on a house. Your taste to get when you're picking out something new, you look for the shinier object, right? So the downsizing financially didn't really work out. I love our home. We have everything on our main level, our laundry room, our main bedroom. I don't need to go up and down stairs. So it's designed for us to age well in. My kids don't live in town, but they love coming home and hanging out with their friends. It's a destination for them. They would be heartbroken if we moved, because when they come home for holidays and weddings and family events, they have other friends that come home at the same time. Kids just love that. We know our neighbors, we know our community. My little community, people call it a Hallmark town. My town is 3,000 people live in my town, and I'm about 15 minutes from a town of 130,000. And we have parades and festivals. The safety is off the charts. You know, it's just fantastic. We love it here. So if you moved, you know, you got to gain new friends. The friends I have, most of them I've known for 30 years. So is it going to take me 30 years to establish the close family friend relationship that I've got? New community, you know, there's a big risk in there. And you hear this a lot of people move to a new community and they can't find the friends that they used to have. Well, you've had the other friends for 30 years. It's going to take 30 years to get 30-year friends, right? Right for some, may be right for us someday, like if we want to change cities to get closer to grandkids. But right now, makes no sense at all. So folks, you know, wrapping this up, rules of thumb that you hear on the media, even on here on YouTube, they're a starting point, not advice. The 4% rule, it's a starting point, not advice. You should take Social Security at 62, starting point, not advice. Take it at 70, starting point, not advice. Be careful. Everybody's got different situation. Be careful of comparison. What works for Joe may not work for Jane, okay? A lot of people in the comments, if you're reading them, they may have pensions. So many times I'll get a comment and they'll say, oh, you'd be stupid to do this. And I ask them, hey, do you have a pension? They go, oh yeah, I've got a pension in Social Security that covers more than all my expenses. Well, that's a totally different situation than I'm in. You know, I'm living off investments. So they think I'm crazy for some of the moves I make. Why don't you just put everything in the stock market? Well, I need some bonds because I don't have a big pension covering everything in. Or I need some fixed assets. And they may value different things. Some people, like moving, they value warm weather, the beach. They may value playing golf every day, and that be included in their HOA of $2,000 a month, okay? I don't value that as much as always being available for family, friends, and events, and having a home that I know very well. I love my town, love my family and friends, okay? Everyone's situation is different. My plea to you, you only remember two things about this video. Number one, your retirement journey, don't go it alone. And I'm not saying you and your spouse count as not going it alone. No, you need somebody external to look at your plan, okay? These Money Pickle guys are good. You may contact the folks at New Retirement, talk to 2 or 3 financial advisors. I talk to 7, okay? Have somebody else look at your plan. Going it alone, the potential is too great, okay? I've looked at 300 people's plan, over 300, and 2 of them had a plan that I did not look at with concern, with improvement, not concern, where I didn't offer substantial ideas to improve it. 2 out of the 300. So use that as your odds of having the perfect plan from going down in your basement bunker. And if you do choose to go yourself without a financial advisor, you know, folks, don't use your Excel spreadsheets. Get a comprehensive software package that's been tested. New Retirement is the gold standard, okay? It's the one I use, okay? It's the first link. Get free 2 weeks for New Retirement. Free phone call for the folks at Money Pickle. So I'm giving you 2 solutions that are free, okay? Free to look at, free to talk to them, okay? Go down that route. If you choose to buy New Retirement, you're doing what I'm doing, okay? And I've been buying it for 3 years. So, hey, have you received bad advice or started using poor rules of thumb in your retirement journey? Let us know in the comments. Get a good discussion going, okay? This is Joe out.